Welcome to the Cajun Cooks. I'm Warren Richard and I'm the Cajun Cook. Remember, if you like today's show, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate your vote of confidence. Today on the Cajun Cooks, I'm going to cook a Creole classic that appears on New Orleans restaurants, and it's called shrimp Clemenceau. Shrimp Clemenceau is popular in the French Quarter, some of the traditional restaurants like Tujague's. And shrimp Clemenceau is also a very good Creole dish to serve during the spring. Why is that? Well, we're not going to make a roux. No, we're not. And we are not going to use a lot of heavy Cajun spices. This doesn't really require a lot of cayenne pepper. So it's light, it's bright, and it's easy. You can have this on the dinner table, I'd say 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm going to show you some shortcuts on, if you don't have shrimp stock in your freezer, you can use shellfish stock out of the carton. That's certainly fine. This is a good thing, good dish to prepare on a Sunday afternoon or even for dinner when you come home from work. It really isn't difficult. So let's get started with shrimp Clemenceau. And of course, you know, we're going to pair this with wines from Virginia. And I'll reveal those wines at the end of the segment today. So let's get started with the ingredients for shrimp Clemenceau. And so here we have the ingredients we need. So we're going to start with two potatoes, two large potatoes, russet potatoes. Peel and dice the potatoes. I'm going to fry these in about 2 inches of oil. And that really is the most complicated and time-consuming part of this dish, is frying the potatoes. And even that takes about 10 minutes. So you need 2 potatoes. I have 4 dozen medium-sized shrimp. Don't get giant prawns, medium-sized shrimp, peeled and deveined. You'll need some olive oil, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, about a cup of sliced button mushrooms, and then we're going to need about 1/4 cup of white wine. Any white wine will do. Make sure it's dry, nothing sweet for this one. I'm going to use some seafood stock, and notice I'm using something out of the cart and out of the carton. So this is fine. We only need a cup, maybe even less than that. So don't worry about whether or not it's fresh or not. Even clam juice. You can use some clam juice for this because you're not using a lot. Some garlic. And then I'm going to add in a twist of a slice of lemon to brighten things up. And about 3/4 cup of petit pois peas. These are frozen peas. I've defrosted them ahead of time. You can also use canned peas if you really can't find petit pois peas in the freezer section of the supermarket. If you do, make sure you are using small peas, not large peas. And then my seasoning. So I'm going to season the shrimp with salt, pepper, and 1/8 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I'm going to sprinkle in 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in the dish while I'm putting it together. 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. If you have fresh thyme, that's probably the way to go. I forgot to buy dried thyme at the supermarket, but I have this in the pantry, so I'm using dried thyme. A dash, and I do mean a dash, of my Cajun spice mix. I'm going to toss those in the potatoes once they're fried. And that's about it. So let's get started. I'm going to dice these potatoes. I'm going to fry them in my Dutch oven. So join me in a bit when I get these potatoes diced and in the oil. I've chopped up my potatoes. They're going into oil that has been heated up to 350 degrees. This will take about 10 minutes, and it's the longest part of preparing this dish. All right, so I fried up my potatoes. I'm going to salt these up. Some pepper. And my dash of Cajun spice. And then give these a toss. There we have it. That looks pretty neat. And I'm going to keep these warm in my oven, and we'll get started with the shrimp. So now I'm ready to start with the shrimp. I went ahead and salted these, a little bit of cracked pepper, and here's where I add my 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper flakes. I'm going to give these a toss. Now y'all know I would still be stirring up a roux, but ready to put things in the pan. Very easy. And now I'm going to get my pan, and we're going to start with the shrimp. So I am heating up 2 tablespoons of olive oil, medium heat. I'm going to toss in about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And when this bubbles up, I'm going to toss in the shrimp. Actually, I should say when the foam subsides. We don't want to be too hasty, even though we're all hungry, I'm sure. All right, welcome back. So I sauteed my shrimp about 5 minutes or so. They're going to go back in the pan, so if they don't cook through all the way, that's fine, because they'll be in the pan with all the other ingredients soon enough. All right, so now we go in with our mushrooms. And we're going to saute these. I think I forgot to mention garlic. You'll need about 2 cloves of garlic, finely chopped. I'll add that in when the mushrooms have sauteed, and then we're going to go in with some white wine. Because now we're going to add white wine. Let that boil. And I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of salt. A little bit of cracked pepper. And then once the wine boils down a bit, I'm going to add some seafood stock. The remaining ingredients will be good to go. Squeeze of lemon, just a dash, brighten things up a bit. A little bit of thyme, because we have all the time in the world, ha. My petit pois peas. I defrosted these in the microwave, and I would suggest doing that if you're using frozen peas. If you're using canned peas, strain them first. few of those peas don't want to get in the skillet. My shrimp goes back in the skillet. We'll let this come together for a minute or two. We want the shrimp to finish cooking through. A pinch of cayenne pepper. That's all the heat for this particular dish, and that's all we need. Feel free to toss in some green onions if you have those in the kitchen. And of course, some Italian parsley. And I'm going to add a little bit more seafood stock. Give this a stir. I should have used a bigger skillet. But it's all right. It's all good. All right, so my shrimp have cooked through. Now I'm going to add my potatoes. Those are fine. Right, so I'm going to mix in the potatoes with the rest of this. I'm going to serve it up in a bowl, and I'll see you in the dining room because we have wines to pair with shrimp Clemenceau. See you soon. So this is shrimp Clemenceau. It is in the serving dish, and we are ready to eat. Let's discuss wine. So I write about Virginia wine, and today we're going to pair shrimp Clemenceau with two award-winning wines. Both of these wines won the gold medal in the Governor's Cup in 2025, and one of them won the entire cup, the big prize, and that would be the Vermentino from Barboursville. This is the 2023 vintage, and this would be a very good pairing. You know, some lemon in there, the peas, the shrimp, the mushrooms. This would go very well. And then Barrel Oak Sauvignon Blanc. This is, again, from the 2023 vintage. This was a gold medal winner last year in the Governor's Cup, and either of these would pair very well with shrimp Clemenceau. So the Cajun has cooked, and I'm hungry. So if you want to learn more about Virginia wines, go to my wine blog, virginiawinetime.com. And of course, subscribe, thumbs up, shrimp Clemenceau. Let me know what you think. Cheers from the Cajun Cook.